starting my work day with a session with my friends as to how I could be of assistance or some service because I have multiple ways I think I can help a little bit. So it could be something with the body, with the mind, with the psyche, with the spirit, whatever, right? So whatever I know by sharing and making people see a little bit light into that condition probably would help a little bit. It's not that we can solve everything, but I can be your friend and listen, and I can be your friend and share and serve. Okay. There is a big philosophy in India, which is karma yoga, they call it. Right? What it is what you do if you do it in the spirit of service. That becomes karma yoga. Service in the sense you are doing something without expecting anything in return. Not even appreciation, not even praise, not even uh, you know mm, really boosting your ego. None of that, right? So I enjoyed taking care of my patients and taking care of the people who ask me some counseling. Could be a physician may call me asking for an administrative thing. Then I'll give them my insight from what I have done, I have learned, or it could be something like a stressful situation they have and they're not able to handle it. So they seek my suggestion. Then I may give instant relief with something I would say or something I may do. It could be like they are not focusing on what is the real problem, and I may point it out. So variety of things, right? Uh, I think I need to let people know what are the things that I would be happy to share and help. Basically, wellness of the individual, the system, of the society, or of the planet as a whole. My aspirations are big, but then it all comes down to very simple thing. Something I was working on this morning. This is going to be a book, a course, and also a movement I wanted to start. It's what's called happiness formulas. Somebody told me very early in life that it came, I think, from Gandhi. I might have read it. It is like this: simple outward living, simple outward living, and higher inner thinking. So uh, it makes a lot more sense to me because after striving for achieving a lot of external comforts or things and all that, some of them have lost the meaning, right? Or you just grow out of it, probably. Whatever it is, I can um, give very little importance to accumulation of things anymore. But not because I have them or have given away from them, but because I've seen the transient nature. I've seen the real no importance in our living, right? So not that everybody has to be there, but consider this formula. How simply are we living? How much deeper thinking we have. That's all. Okay. Uh, so there is a very nice formula in the spiritual realm, what is called. They said if you are away from one is Kanakam, another is Kanta. Kanakam means gold, so like a Wall Street, representing money making and all of that, right? And then Kanta is like a woman, symbolizing pleasure in this instance, and that is the Hollywood, right? One way we have Wall Street, one way we have Hollywood, but we are all supporting both, right? Either we are working for the money and think that is everything, or we are chasing pleasure thinking that's outside of us, right? Both are wrong, right, perspectives in the long run. But generally, the person who is content with himself, who is happy with what he got and really reflects on the life and understands everything, keeps quiet inside, I think he's generally happy, right? So there's a lot in this simple outward living, like a childlike, and really deeper, wise thinking inside. That's a very good thing. I think this has come from who's that? Vivekananda, I believe. They were quoting him that he was like that. And then they were telling me he was utterly simple, childlike, almost like a child, outwardly, even up to the end of the life. But inwardly, he's such a serious thinker. His insights are still followed even today. Okay. Um, a lot of people agree with that if they read his works and all that. But essentially, um, having one clothing, having minimal to eat, and then stay in a small house, all those are simplicities. We can modify that. So I start with my room and see what is that really I'm using and what is that I'm hoarding for the specious sake or whatever. I have the option of giving it away, or like dumping it, or just maybe somebody wants to take it, just give it away, right? So those kind of things I started to do. I felt so much relief after the cleaning of the closets, cleaning of the uh, uh, corridors and all of that, right? So there's more space out there and more space inside of us that way. So try that. you know Take a look over the place and see. I'm not advising, I'm just suggesting you for this kind of lifestyle, minimalism in our outward life. But thinking deeper and wiser, or reflecting on the uh, established concepts and all. For example, I challenge that concept that our happiness is out there in the things, in the whatever is out there, right? Uh, that is what we are led to believe. Pursuit of happiness is pursuit of a degree, pursuit of accumulation of some things, pursuit of some bank account balance, and all these are psychological insecurities they play on. But if we were told, hey, happiness is not out there, but happiness is inside, I was reflecting on that. How would my life would have been if I was raised somewhat like that? You see, my high school teacher, he wrote a parting gift in my autograph book, that you should be worshiping the beauty that is inside a person. I was a teenager, and that had a tremendous influence on me because I loved the man. He taught us how to think. He did not teach us lessons. He told us to read the lessons and come to the class and answer the questions that he is going to pose. Or he made us ask questions. So thereby we turned out to be people who are questioning and learning, not passively absorbing. And that's such an important thing in brain growth, in keeping yourself young and keeping new material exciting and all that. So your mind is really made to get up and take notice and really form new brain formation. So much involved in that particular thing. Socrates, for example, he was like that, right? So anyway, this dean had that impact on us, and he wrote there like, you worship the beauty in a person, not outwardly, but the qualities. Like I suppose somebody is loving, somebody is compassionate, somebody is giving, or somebody is really serving other people and all that. Those qualities that represent beauty, right? Worship that. That's what he wrote. In Telugu, it's called Atma Saundaryam Aradhinchamu. Aradhinchamu means worship. Atma Sadhana means inside beauty. Okay, and that particular sentence was very important to me. So the paradigm that happiness is in things, or happiness is in experiences, or happiness in vacationing, and all, there are pleasures. That's fine, but then if you can really understand what is happiness, what is pleasure, I think the whole perspective will change. And also being content, being psychologically independent, being not dependent on anybody to give you things or provide things and all that. And that psychological independence itself, I think, is very wonderful, right? So that's how I feel anyway. So having that goal of inner richness, inner wisdom, inner understanding of the you, the society, the world, the God, whatever, right? All that is really inward richness I'm talking about. So this principle, outwardly you are very simple, but inwardly you are very rich with your wisdom and knowledge. It could be somebody else's wisdom. Somebody showed us the way, that this is the way you be. That's It's much better to be non-addicted to this gold or the pleasure than being the chase of. You may choose that path. That's fine. But then I'm talking about considering the perspective of being simple outwardly and being very rich inwardly in our feelings, in our thinking, in our understanding. Okay, so I was developing a uh, room for this in Clubhouse probably, and also I will discuss the topics related to it for a while in these rooms with the wisdom, with other platforms I'm streaming right now. Okay, in that spirit, I wanted to come here and be available to people if they should have any questions or anything that I could share, or I could really tell you about, or I could advise you. You're more than happy to come up and ask me questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay. There are so many people here. Let me see. Dash is here. Sanya is here. Julie. Hi, Julie. How are you? Michael is here. Andrew is here. Sean Slaughter is here. So it's like kind of uh, way back, I was reading a book by an Australian, you know, and they were describing their life in Australia, and they were comparing to American life, because this particular person who wrote that book had an opportunity to come to USA, right? So he was debating what is the life in USA, what is the life in Australia, and he kind of gets a lot of accounts of American life, exciting, variety of things, and accumulation of a lot of things. All those things come. But he talks about one Australian quality. I don't know. I have never been Australia, but I have Australian friends. A lot of them are my followers also there. Yoga training was there with me. These people told me laid back quality of Australian life. That's I don't know whether it is there all the time, but kind of identified in that book. And then at the end, he finally concludes, I'm better off staying here, laid back, relaxed, contented, and I'm happy with that. But I don't want to go and struggle to accumulate things which I don't value, or go after the money accumulation which I don't value. That was his version, right? I'm not saying this is good or that is good. But what it is after coming to America, I found solace mostly in this principle of simple living and outward simple living, and inward rich, um, asking questions and learning new things, opening up channels of wisdom, and let the wisdom of every culture flow into us. That is the richness I'm talking about. Not saying that we are consumerists, we are accumulating things, we are fighting for money, we encourage greed, we encourage all this things accumulation. That's not an ideal thing. But having a house for the family, having food, having clothing, and atmosphere of education, atmosphere of society, those are very good things, I think. I think real American dream is that psychological independence, being in the freedom, able to express yourself, get lot of ideas flowing. That's where I get excited about American freedom, American help with the individual growth and all that, but not this throwing that like a uh, more like attractions, or more like a feed, something like those things. I think I have a problem with. So it doesn't rely with my. I read about this way back when I was a child. The Australian version of laid back Australians don't want to go there, and I think his description was, I don't want to go into a rat race where I will not go anywhere. I'll be going round and round and round. And he said, let me stay here in the beautiful Australia and laid back and be content and enjoy the nature, enjoy myself. Maybe I will be creative or something. But his book was very creative, right? Uh, I don't remember the title or anything, but I read it. We used to read a lot of books because at the time that was it. A lot of novels, a lot of non-fiction, a lot of expensive. But one thing was, we had the fortune of friends gathering in the evening, and it's a tropical country, and we had a big balconies in our house was big, considered by my father. So we rented out the bottom 11 rooms or something, and the top you have 4 rooms up, and then both sides big balconies. So my friends used to come there because we used to have round table, like not even table, just chairs, and then we are enjoying the nice tropical weather. And then we used to initiate discussion on a book, on a film, or something happening in the college, medical college, right? So we were always not just stating the obvious fact, but about what we really see there, what is our perception, what is. So that way we kind of had feeding from several perspectives of any particular topic, so we sometimes we went pretty deep discussions. Those we call, they're termed satsang. That means association of good people. There are some hidden rules in there. Nobody obviously stated, but the culture is that you don't engage in argumentativeness or one man upmanship or putting people down. Those kind of things were not really appreciated a lot. So without saying this person is the conducting meeting or this is the one, everybody knew their limits. Everybody were respectful to the other person. These are the things that were conveyed in those satsang. The moment you name it satsang, that's it. Egos are gone, and spirit of sharing with each other what we want to share, not in the spirit of you got to agree what I said. But this is the way I look at it. It's up to you to see what is the variety. But then ultimately, what is the winner is the truth. If you are the seeker of truth of in any matter, you just be ready to be. Once they show you that your argument is not going that way, but this is the way it is going, once the truth is revealed, and obviously you're going to follow the truth, and you agree that not that you are defeated or your ego is defeated, but you have the fortune to look at the truth. That kind of spirit. And in those discussions, this book came, and there were several people already set to come to America, right? A lot of these doctors, they take the exams and they pass and they're ready to move to America. That is the stage they are in. It's called visa qualifying exam. They used to write that exam, And once you have passed the exam, already people got the visa. At that time, I think it was in late 70s probably. At that time, there was some shortage of doctors here, and then whoever the doctor came here, they were met at the airport by an official from the hospital, and they were treated very nicely and taken to the hospital because they valued them very much. Even now, when I was going around to work as a hospitalist plus EMR consultant, I was received at least at the hotel. And then I got a bouquet and all that too. And we were surprised. Me and my wife were there. But then we were going to check in the hotel. Then we got this guest and with a bouquet and all that. So they made you feel special. But I was happy that they were there to guide us. But that kind of thing was there. So there in the group, there were people who were already set to go to America. They don't have a foggiest idea about consumerism or the money, all these things they don't have. All they were really wanted was further chance of learning more and further chance of participating in the research and further chance of making some money for their family. Then those were the motivations they had. So we had a lovely discussion about how is life in America, how is life in Australia, how is life in India. You know, we came to know a lot more by discussing like that. You know, and one day it so happened one of my brother's friend. My brother is like a 15 years older than me, right? So he was in America for about 10 years when he came back, and he happened to come here and he said, "You guys have so many illusions in American life, and I have to do everything. I don't have servants like you guys have. You have a luxury. You don't have to do any household work. You don't have to do the cooking. You can just sit down and learn. But there, I had to do everything." And that was kind of a shock for a lot of people at that time before coming to the America, right? Uh, but the people who were taught about doing all these things is good for you, like a Gandhian principle. He made everybody do their own work in his ashram, the Sabarmati ashram. They said that they had all these people coming and living there. They can come and live there, but they have to keep after themselves. Like, you know, they have to clean the bathrooms. They have to do the. That was a very novel idea for a lot of people at the time, you know, because they were used to servants and all of that, right? So in a way, American life also wants you to be simple, not the maids, not the servants, but more like you do your stuff, you know. So that's very important too. I think dignity of labor that I like in American life very much. You know, the hospital administrator and me will be in the same queue for the at the cafeteria, and we'll be taking our own lunch and eat and then return the tray. That was not there in Indian life. We were like a royalty, you know, there were servants, everything was done by them. So that kind of spoiled thing did not go into me somehow because maybe I was reading Gandhi's life in Sabarmati Ashram. Could be that way. You know. Anyway, I don't want to be ranting here, but more like I'm here to offer, you know, this kind of atmosphere, this kind of helpful attitude or willingness, you know, so that if people want to converse with me, you can come up and ask me questions. That will be good. Okay. This is a room I want to do in the morning and in the evening so that we can open up further discussion on, or it's a kind of a not revolutionary, but more like gently examining what we are doing and where we can go, you know. In platforms like Clubhouse, Wisdom, and they are bringing people together. So to forms like a satsang, come associate with good people and exchange ideas and learn from each other. That's a good thing, I think. You know, that's how I felt when I was growing up, and I was especially going to the medical college. We had long years, like 5.5 years it took us. It's not like a 2, 3 years here. It's a long. We have before organic chemistry, and 1 year, and then preliminaries like 2.5 years, then the clinicals 2.5 years, right? So it's a long time. So we had a only fortunately I had my own house in the same town that my college was. So people work at. So here now again, I'm inviting people to be part of my uh, uh, willingness to discuss or share things and all that. That kind of helps a lot. Okay, so uh, okay, so anyway. Somebody sent me a message that I'm looking at that. So my intention is, how can we talk about this? What is simple living? Why it is relevant? How it can help us to free a lot of psychological habits that we are forming because of the lure that out there is the happiness out there in the things, right? But whereas when you really look at it, it's not out there. It is inside of us. To do that, you got to do the inner inquiry, inner quest of wisdom, and all that. See, that's what happened. The highest human experience is where people really calmed down and then sat down and then reflected everything inside. And some of the discoveries that were made about existence or the things in existence or the life by the ancient Indian community was by sitting down in a cave or in a forest and shutting down everything outwardly and staying in that what's called tapasya. That means constant practice of inward looking and inward investigation. And then they questioned everything. They wanted to know what is the bonded life, what is the liberated life, how can the human beings be psychologically free and not bonded to the things in the outside world or anything like that, right? So they understood a lot more things with what is called meditative awareness. Okay, not thought but meditative awareness. A deeper perception of things happened in that state, and then they came out as principles or guidelines for the other people to follow. So what they did was, once they found those things with that meditative awareness, they kind of imbibed them in the regular life. Okay, so for example, if you have a meditative awareness where the thought is completely still and you are operating with your deeper intelligence, then you don't have any problem with mental illness. You don't have any problem with the stress hormones. And that's why they were able to still and they were able to explore this. And that's what they call intuitive awareness too. So there is a lot in this simple living and higher thinking. You can take one at a time and you can see outwardly how simple we are, what are the things we are dealing with, that kind of thing. Inwardly, you can see where is our thinking. Am I following somebody's laid down principle? That is the called conditioning. Or am I thinking about it and then coming to my own understanding and conclusions from it and then operating them into my life? So there's a lot involved in both of them. I'm going to explore them slowly. We will talk maybe minimalism. What's the bhakti of minimalism? How it is going to help the planet? Why some of the youngsters are taking that up, and then they are really jealously doing that. But how can we, normal people, can be minimalistic in our approach to our clothing, our living conditions, our bedrooms, our houses, our cities, and all that. In the minimalism, then you save a lot of resources, and not for you, but for others, and also because it is going to help the planet. Okay, if you generate a lot of plastic out of not thinking, see what is happening. That kind of thing. We're using a lot of wood for houses. What is happening, so why do I have to have so big houses for a few people? That kind of thinking. It's not like giving up things, but it's like bringing in some responsibility towards the earth, towards the people, towards us. Okay. All right. That's all for now. And then if anybody wants to come up, then I will have talk to them what they want me to help them with. Okay. So I will do this room every day at 10 o'clock to at least for half an hour. Then that will give me impetus for the day, and I'll be done in my work from 11 o'clock anyway. And then in the evening, after my work is done, then I will come back to you at 6 o'clock. Okay. So I plan to do this. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow at the same time.